What's up, .com people? It's aMuffin again, and today I'm bringing you a game of Elite Slayer on sword base. I'm picking this game to commentate over because I was a cheap bastard, and I did well, and I had a lot of fun playing it. In fact, it's titled in my iTunes as Boom Boom and Swords, so expect to see lots of explosives and lots of swords. Now, whenever I'm going to do a Reach commentary, I've decided that I'm going to talk more about the actual gameplay, give some tips and tricks because I'm a little bit better at it than I am at Call of Duty. It's kind of an understatement. I'm a lot better at it than I am at Call of Duty. Whenever I'm trying to get Call of Duty gameplays, it takes me, a whole session to get one game, whereas I pulled about 4 or 5 games from this session, and I'm going to be doing commentaries over that. So look at that. I get like 2 weeks worth of commentaries in one night as opposed to getting, a commentary for one. I get one commentary in one session, so I get like half of my commentary stuff out of a session, and it's just and that's a maybe also because of the nature of the beast. It might take me a little bit longer just because of maybe bad spawns. They had to migrate the host too many times or whatever. But in Halo, I have considerably more experience talking about the game and giving tips and tricks on it. So that's what I'm going to stick to. So this game, what you see me do is you see me pick up this, I don't know exactly what it's called yet. I'll get back to you on that one, but it's basically the brute shot. And it's basically the brute shot, only it doesn't bounce. So I'm using that. I'm firing over into this little hallway, which is the top of Yellow Lift. And what that does is it makes sure that this team cannot push out of this little trap that we have them in. They're spawning below at the bottom of Yellow Lift, so Yellow 1, as you might call it. And they're coming up the lift in swarms. Now, if I had a regular gun right there, what would have happened is they would have come up, 2 or 3 at a time, and they would have just charged me, and I wouldn't have been able to do anything because I wouldn't have had a powerful enough gun to stop people. And in most Halo games, and especially Halo Reach, if you're going against 2 or 3 people just by yourself, you're probably not going to do too well in that situation. What's important to do is control the situation by not only having the correct gun for that situation, but also using the cover around you and making sure that you have teammates around you. Because if you don't, more times than not, you're going to end up just having an unnecessary death in your stats, and no one wants that. So as you see, what happened a minute ago there is I died because I over pursued a guy, and his teammate had spawned below him to take me out. Another thing that you want to remember in Halo is that you do not want to chase people. I made the mistake of doing that because I underestimated the skill of these guys. I mean, they weren't very good anyways, but I didn't really think that they would be able to shoot their gun straight. So I was charging a little bit more than I should. I was being a little bit more over-aggressive than I normally would. But I learned my lesson once I got this sword and I started camping. And there's no other word for what was happening other than camping. I mean, right here I rush a guy, and every once in a while I'll rush him. But for the most part, I'm going to stay up in this top Yellow Lift part, because on sword base, that is the most important part to control, is the top. The reason for that is because sword base is a level with levels. It has 3 levels, if I'm not mistaken. The first, second, and third. And the third level has views on pretty much everything. You have good eyes on all the spawns. They can't get over to you or the top side without using one of the lifts, and you have good eyes on the lifts, and you can also hear them going, so you can ambush them before they get up there, and they'll have no idea you're there. So just remember, on sword base, it is important to stay on top. Alright, what just happened there is I got ambushed at the top Yellow Lift. Again, I wasn't with my teammates, and I over pursued with the sword. I had a power weapon, and I figured, I can just run in there and slice and dice some bitches and come out on top. But that's not the case, because what happens in Halo Reach is you can actually block the sword now. What that means is in Halo 2 and in Halo 3, those are the only 2 Halo games with the sword. What would happen is you would go for the sword lunge, and you wouldn't be able to be stopped. As long as you were locked on and had a clear line of sight on the guy, you were not going to miss that sword lunge. That's just basically how it is. But in this one, what happens is the person you're lunging for, if they're looking at you, what they can do is they can beat down at the exact moment that you're about to slice them, and they will block your sword. And it causes a lot of frustration on my part in this game, because I think they blocked me 2 times, and in another game they blocked me another 2 times, and it's really frustrating whenever you used to be able to just run in and wreck people. So remember, if you have the sword, don't think that you are automatically going to have an easy kill, because if you're going against a good player, they're going to be able to melee at the same time, and then you're going to have to work twice as hard for that kill. Now, while you're not going to do any damage, or while they're not going to do any damage to you by doing that, or if they do, it's minuscule, you do a lot of damage to them. So if you do get that sword lunge off, make sure to pull out your secondary weapon, or whatever you have as your secondary, whether it's a DMR or a pistol or an assault rifle, and finish off the kill. You don't have to keep going for the sword lunge. In fact, if you do, most of the times you're probably going to end up dead, because the player is going to back off after that beatdown. He's going to shoot you, and you might be out of range of the sword lunge. Basically, just play it smart. The other thing I want to talk about is the evade armor ability. The evade armor ability, in my opinion, is probably the best one, or it's at least my favorite. I'll always pick either that one or sprint. Sprint, I feel like, is really important because, you know, you can get to the power weapons more effectively. You can get to where you need to be on the map before the enemy team expects you to be there, which is key in any game. You want to be able to surprise your opponent. And that's what sprint allows you to do. But evade allows you to get out of the way of the oh-so-important grenade and the oh-so-overpowered grenade in this game. So, in fact, I would probably recommend it as the MLG settings. That's primarily what I'm going to be playing, is the MLG playlist whenever it comes out, or if that doesn't come out, then at least the settings that they have for it. So I'd like to see that as their armor ability. I just think it's so useful. You can get out of the way of the grenades. You can change the pace of a BR battle, or not a BR battle, a DMR battle or a needle rifle battle, and you can come out on top in a situation where you normally would have gotten outfired, which I think it increases the skill gap along with having the bloom there. So really, I feel like this is going to be a game where the better players are going to flourish and, you know, go banana crazy on these people whenever the skill gap starts to be apparent. Right now, it seems like you can go into a game and do well. It doesn't really matter how good you are because of those stupid beatdowns, but that's something for another video. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is what I'm going to be doing most of the time. If I need to up my intensity whenever I'm talking, just let me know. If I'm good, let me know. Anyways, thanks for watching. It's been aMuffin, and peace.